This is vlog 34 on Friday the 20th of March 2020. I'm of course Councillor Graham Campbell, and this is the second video in my Covid-19 series on how Covid-19 is affecting those of us living in South Lanarkshire Ward 5, Avondale and Stonehouse. As you can imagine, as one of the locally elected members for Ward 5 Avondale and Stonehouse, I'm being inundated with questions every day from constituents wondering what is going to happen during the current Covid-19 crisis. So over the next 5 or so minutes, I want to take you through these questions because most of them are the same. So hopefully I'll be able to answer what I can right now based on what constituents are coming to me with every day. The first thing that I would say are the questions that I'm getting are all really excellent and very pertinent to the current Covid-19 crisis. If you want to ask a question that's relating to South Lanarkshire Council and the community we're living in here in Avondale and Stonehouse, please send me an email. As you all know, I do not take any questions anymore by Facebook due to GDPR. For the last 18 or so months, I've not used Facebook or responding to any Facebook IM. So please, I'm showing the email below here on the screen. Use that to contact me, and I promise I will get back to you within a few hours. The first question that I got the most this week are when are the schools going to close? We'll now know that answer from the First Minister. When was that? Wednesday this week. The schools are closing this afternoon, Friday the 20th of March 2020. So as of Monday, you cannot send your children to school. The council and the Education Department, in partnership with the Scottish Government, are working up the plan right now what to do about the children of those key workers, who is on the key worker list. The UK Government announced that key worker list this morning. That has to be ratified through Edinburgh. I would expect that list for Scotland will appear in the next few days, so watch out for that. What form it will take right now, I'm sorry, I can't answer that question. I don't think anyone knows how it is going to work right now. But as it sits today, the parents of key workers, whatever that list is, will be able to send their children to a council facility for daycare during the COVID crisis to allow them to get to work. Please, I will bring out more information as I get it on that particular topic, but as it sits right now, there is no school starting Monday. Staying on the topic of education, the next question I'm getting the most is, will remote learning take place? We all know that the exams across Scotland, England, Wales and Northern Ireland have been cancelled for 2020, and the students will be given a result based on their work during that particular course. But don't expect your kids' education to stop during the Covid-19 crisis. On Monday, while the schools are closed to all students, the teachers and support staff will all be there. My belief is they're all working up packages that will be distributed to parents and students using the Glow network. Every student in Scotland has a Glow account, which is a Microsoft Office 365 account, where the packages of work, homework, schoolwork, whatever you want to call it, will be sent to your child. It may take a couple of weeks for that to come through. My feeling is, and this is not gospel, please don't take it as that this will not start in earnest until after the Easter holidays. But as you all know, this is a really changing situation in this unprecedented, the word I keep using all the time right now, unprecedented situation. As you know, I am a big favour of certainly the secondary school kids being able to be taught online using solutions like Skype and Teams and FaceTime or whatever that happens to be. But right now, we don't have the answers to that. I expect the answers will start to come out on those particular topics over the next 2 to 3 weeks. Please guys, give the council a chance, give the education a chance. They've really not had to deal with a situation like this before. It will come through in the next couple of weeks, more information, so please bear with us. Next question I am getting from a number of council staff: if I am taking leave for sick leave, or am I having to take time away from work to look after my kids, will I still get paid? The simple answer to that, guys, is yes, you will absolutely still get paid by South Lanarkshire Council. But what I will say, there is a very, very good chance you will be deployed to another role. I already know that, we already know that the daycare facilities for social work across South Lanarkshire are closing, and right now the social work department are looking at the daycare packages for every individual that receives daycare within social work, and I expect over the next 5 to 10 days those work packages or those care packages will come through from the council, and therefore do expect to be redeployed to support the looking after of some of the most vulnerable in our community as part of your role as an employee of South Lanarkshire Council, and that will extend to a lot of jobs that are affected by the council during the COVID-19 crisis. I got a really good question from a couple of taxi drivers with contracts here in South Lanarkshire, obviously taking kids to school or taking kids home from school, and they're asking, will they get paid when the schools close? The answer to that was a bit more difficult to answer, and that really depends on your contract with the council. If you have a full term time contract to be paid for taxiing kids to and from school, the answer is you will absolutely get paid. But a lot of those contracts may have a break clause, and it would be the council's absolute right to enact those break clauses, if I could speak this morning. But what I would say, it's not in the council's interest for taxi companies and bus companies to go off and do other work. The schools suddenly start coming back online before the summer, and there is no transport to get children to and from school, especially here in a rural ward like Avondale and Stonehouse. So it is currently sitting with the Chief Financial Officer of South Lanarkshire. I will be able to bring a definitive answer to that particular question over the next few days. I think it's important that you look at your contract with the council. What do you have? And the situation, as I say, will become more apparent in the coming days. The next question is a really fantastic question that I got around midweek, and that is, if you're laid off due to COVID-19 or you're asked to take a holiday from work or unpaid holiday from work due to COVID-19, will you be able to take a holiday on your council tax? Right now, folks, there is no absolute definitive answer on that. The decision on that is going to have to come from Westminster and Holyrood. But what I will say is, over my 13 years as a councillor at South Lanarkshire, the Revs and Bens team in South Lanarkshire have been absolutely fantastic, working with constituents who have found themselves in a situation where they're unable to pay their council tax, and they have come up with plans, single plans for every single individual that has got into trouble regarding council tax. I know that's not going to answer your question around COVID-19 and actually taking a formal council tax holiday, so we're going to have to wait until that comes out from central government before I'll be able to answer that one fully and finally. Next question is, how will the council make decisions, take decisions if the councillors are not there? Most of you will probably already know that as elected members we are now in recess. I have been asked not to attend any council meetings going forward. We think what is going to happen, or what I believe is planning to happen, is that the leaders of each of the political groups here in South Lanarkshire will carry the votes of their entire group. So what does that mean? Every week the Chief Executive and the Senior Directors of the Council will have Skype meetings with the leaders of each of the political groups across the Council, and decisions that are due to go in front of committee or full Council for decision, funny enough, will be taken by that group on via Skype, and therefore the votes that carry for the entire political group will be taken by each of the group leaders. I believe some decisions have already been taken that way, that were due to go to the Executive Committee this month. I think that's a really good plan by South Lanarkshire Council. It's a great bit of visionary thinking outside the box by the new Chief Executive, who I think is doing a great job, and his senior management leadership team. So the function of the council, the decision-making function of the council, guys, is going to continue. It's going to be a bit different over the coming weeks and hopefully not months, but decision-making around everything that we do as elected members will now continue during the current enforced recess due to COVID-19. Another great question, will the private nurseries be forced to close? The answer to that is no. The government have no interest or desire to close private nurseries. I was talking to the owner of a private nursery here in Straven midweek, and she was telling me that some of the challenges that they're having in the private nurseries around staff to child ratios. As you know, there is a ratio that must be met to deliver that particular service. The governing authorities are relaxing that slightly at the moment, and if the ratios do change beyond what would be the norm accepted levels of staff to child ratio, a risk assessment needs to be done in each individual case. But right now there is no decision and to close private nurseries, as there is no decision to close private businesses across the UK right now. I'll come back to that in a second when I talk about the potential lockdown. The final question I do want to talk about is lockdown. It's not really linked to my role as a counsellor, but I am getting a lot of questions coming through. Will I be able to get to my work if there is a government lockdown? Folks, I want to talk about the lockdown first of all. It is my belief there will not be a lockdown. It is a very, very difficult thing to enact here in the United Kingdom, and Boris Johnson's direction right now coming from Westminster is more about advice and persuasion. It's very, very hard, nearly impossible to actually force businesses, private sector businesses, to actually close in the United Kingdom. So whether that's pubs, clubs, restaurants, etc. But the government advice is absolutely clear, and that is social distancing is something we all have to take some responsibility for. And I think that is the key message here right now, is responsibility. We're all adults. We all see the news. We all have the ability to make our own decisions on that, and our decisions should be to follow the government advice. I do feel there's probably a Mr. Grumpy Head video coming up at some point in the very near future, and I'm sure you're all looking forward to that one. But as it sits right now, there are no plans, as far as I am aware, to have an official lockdown where businesses will be forced to close. But if we actually do look at what's been happening in France, Spain, and especially Italy, which has been hardest hit through this crisis, people are still able to go to their work if their business is open. In Italy and in Spain, I'm not sure about France, shops, etc., non-essential shops like boutiques and clothes shops and gift shops, etc., have been forced to close. I'm not sure that will actually happen here in the United Kingdom. I'm not sure it can happen here in the UK. I think we're all going to have to just watch this space on that one. Again, probably like my video that I did on Wednesday, this could be out of date within a couple of hours of publishing. But as it sits right now, I don't think there's a plan for a lockdown specifically, as we're seeing in other European countries. But the message is absolutely clear coming from the government, and my ask of every constituent across Avondale and Stonehouse is, please guys, pay heed to the government advice and do what you think is right to protect yourselves, your family, and everyone else living across this fantastic community. I don't know if I've gone over my 5 minutes or not, my target of 5 minutes, but I'm going to close the video there, folks. I will bring another update as soon as I have more information to share with you. I hope you find these videos useful. My name, of course, is Councillor Graham Campbell, and it's been my absolute pleasure to serve the great people of Avondale and Stonehouse here in South Lanarkshire since 2007. I will go on doing that as long as I can, as long as you let me. Thanks very much for watching, and until the next time, guys, please take heed of the government advice. Be very safe, look after yourselves, look after your family, and if you do want to ask me a question, please drop it in an email to me. Again, here's my email address. Send me an email and I promise to get back to you within a couple of hours.